afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very much delighted to be here with all of you today to talk about a topic that is very, very close to my heart and close to the people that I'm being joined by with today. We've got Javed, who's the co-founder and managing director of Wellx, an Insuretech and health tech platform in the region. We've got Sarah Scott, who is a brain coach, which is a fantastic phenomenon. I'm told it doesn't make your brain healthier or happier, it's just everything and in between. And then we've got Mark, who is joining us as an insurance executive in the region, who has a wealth of expertise in this space. So to kick off today, I wanted to start by asking you, Javed, what do you think about prevention and well-being, particularly the importance of prevention and well-being?
Thank you. These microphones aren't doing anyone any favors today. Financial well-being, particular or specific to the insurance space, has for decades always been about how do I protect myself from looking after myself financially if something is to happen to me. If something's to happen to my car in the motor space, if something's to happen to my life, and when you talk about life insurance, and when you talk about the medical space, you know, at Med-Tech, it's about my health, right? And I think that space has for decades always been about looking at protecting yourself against the rainy day, right? And I think what we're trying to achieve now with where we're at is, and specific post-pandemic, I heard the previous speaker talking about proactive healthcare. I think what we're trying to achieve now in trying to disrupt the space is trying to go one step back and look at preventative healthcare. And I think that's the next big thing when you talk about financial well-being, is trying to protect yourself rather than look for the best provider that pays you the highest if you were to fall sick, but try not to fall sick in the first place so you're able to keep your costs down and try to get the best out of the facility you're looking to pick up.
That's so true. In the post-pandemic world, I guess health and health insurance has never become more important to every one of us in the room. So Sarah, from your perspective, we often focus on physical health rather than mental health, and as a brain coach, maybe you can share with us the importance of mental health and mental well-being and what the new interventions are in this region as well.
Hello. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, so basically, thank you very much, Anushka, for your question. So as you said, I think most of us know about physical well-being, nutritional well-being, and there's a lot of research about those kind of things having positive effects on health. However, if we talk about well-being, we need to talk about it in a holistic way. So there's lots of different kinds of well-being to look at: financial well-being, social well-being, mental well-being, workplace and professional well-being. So there's different kind of areas. Specifically now, if you say mental well-being or emotional well-being, so just to give a quick example, perhaps the brain, if we talk about the brain, treats social threats or danger almost exactly the same as physical danger. So imagine you have a lion in front of you, okay? Your brain stops immediately and everything goes, oh my God, I'm under stress. I need to either fight that lion, run away. Sometimes you don't know what to do, but that's not very helpful. Okay, so now if you go into an organization, for example, talking about low and high trust organizations, if you're in a low trust organization, there's always a reason to be on guard, because you never know if the next person you can actually trust them with information. They might use it against you, they might claim their idea for their own idea and things like this. So it's exactly like the lion. So people get stressed about this. They can actually not think in a proper way. They're less creative, less prone to get good solutions and ideas, which is a lot of trade-off if you're in a company, right? So you want to work towards, for example, high trust, which means I don't need to scan the environment for safety or danger. I just do what I need to do to get things done. Higher collaboration, communication, productivity will or can go up, and in the end will also affect the numbers of the business. So well-being also reaches those parts, and from a brain perspective, that's what I want to add. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you, Sarah. And it wouldn't be fair if we just took Javed and Sarah's perspective, so I'm going to come to Mark as an insurance executive. Or should I ask, why do insurers claim to care about prevention? What's driving that?
Well, prevention sounds great. Why would anybody not want to have more of it? It's a wonderful, desirable thing. But the story here, at least in the UAE, and I work for an insurer, we're taking care of private sector clients. So even at the higher end, they have money and allegedly want to take the best care of their staff. But when we come to look at what prevention actually means here on the ground, it's quite limited. First, I should probably try and explain how prevention manifests itself with an insurance policy with a company like mine and also with my competitors. It will tend to just be a benefit, just one line on a policy, on a page, and it might say that you can go once a year to a hospital and have an annual checkup and look for all the horrible things you probably don't want to know you have, but you know, people can make an effort and go. The problem is when somebody visits one of the amazing hospitals in Dubai with all their fabulous technology, probably some of the things out here, but it's essentially very, very expensive. I mean, somebody just going to a hospital, spending 2 hours and having a checkup could cost up to $1,000 in Dubai. Now, that has to be paid for in some way, so we're willing to give it to anybody who wants it. We just charge a bit more for that benefit. And here lies the problem. As soon as companies see that cost, yeah, it seemed like a good idea. But actually, no, we'll pass this year, which is not great. I would say perhaps 20% of the companies insured with us might actually take this benefit for their staff, which is quite low. But then I would say, of the 20% of the companies that have been given it, we're talking about less than 5%, maybe 2% of the staff that have it and their families will actually use it. So 2% of 20% of a lot of people is nearly nobody getting any benefit whatsoever. The other way that preventive treatment might manifest itself is an annual wellness day. Basically, a bunch of providers or hospitals or clinics that want some business come to your office, test your blood pressure, a dentist asks you to say and tells you need more flossing, and that's prevention. That's preventative care and treatment as it currently stands. More needs to be done, clearly.
Thanks, Mark, and thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to have to come back to Javed then and ignore the fact that you just told me doctors weren't very good at prevention. As a doctor myself, I agree. So Javed, now that you've heard the challenges in the macro environment, it's only fair for us to ask you, what does Wellx do and how are they going to fix or mitigate against the risks that Sarah and Mark have spoken about so far?
Yeah, so I think the question always revolves around what is the definition of prevention? And I think if you ask the three of us, we'll all have different answers, right? The insurer says prevention is a wellness day, or claims that prevention is a wellness day. Sarah probably have a different perspective. For me, well-being is about spending time with my kids at the beach and just having that peace of mind. For you, it may be hitting the gym. So I think everyone has a different definition to wellness and well-being. And I think the way we look at it at Wellx and the way we've been able to put together our proposition, our platform, and our experience is to be able to deliver an ecosystem of well-being partners that include global partners like Whoop and Fitbit. We have a partner in the crowd right there from Google. And in an effort to be able to deliver hyper-personalized well-being, right? So what Wellx does is it integrates a whole host of integrated technology, cutting-edge technology, together with some of our local and regional partners that deliver mental well-being. Sarah's one of them. She's on the panel with us today, to be able to deliver holistic well-being across all different aspects or areas of well-being, so that the end user, the consumer, is able to define and create his own well-being journey. At the back of that, we're also working with our insurance partners to be able to understand what elements of well-being works for who, because something will work for me and something else will work for you, because we all have we're all different, right? I think the one thing that we've been able to really understand or come together as a people post-pandemic is to understand the importance of prevention-focused solutions such as Wellx, and the need for it as a nation and as a community of people to be able to do better for ourselves. So I think intrinsically and post-pandemic, we're all struggling to do better. We all want to do better. And what Wellx does is gives a platform to everybody to be able to do better. And then at the back of it, we work with insurers to actually make sure that what you're doing is actually helping you, and then tailor it or customize it through behavioral science in trying to identify what works for each individual and help them do a little bit more of that through a rewards and incentive mechanism.
And do rewards and incentives work in getting people more active and keeping healthy?
It's a very good question. So I think locally and regionally, it's never really been tested in the insurance space. I come from banking, and for the longest time, we've been very successful with cashback credit cards. People want to get value out of something that they're paying for, always, right? So when it comes to insurance, it's very difficult to find that value until you fall sick, right? And nobody wants to fall sick. If you're able to provide real-life incentives on staying healthy, which is what people want to do, if you're able to nudge them in the right direction, cashback work really, really well from a banking perspective. So we know incentives work. It's about how do you tailor that incentive to make it work for you, for the average person at the end of the day. And that's what we're trying to figure out at Wellx. This model's been proven. I mean, at Vitality, right? You guys have been doing it for so many years, right? And you can probably answer this better from a global phenomenon or global perspective. But locally and regionally, being a homegrown entity, we understand what makes people tick, and we feel we know the community a lot better because we grew up with this community, and we'll be able to deliver those incentives and reward mechanisms in a way that people can understand it and actually appreciate it.
You did just cite the biggest shared value study at Vitality, and yes, it was a trick question. I would say that, I guess if we ask the room, how many of you would count your steps every day for a little voucher or a little coffee or maybe a gym discount? How many people have Fitbits or wearables? We've got a gentleman in the back. Anyone else? Wow. Okay, so I'd say that's 50% of the room. And
the man from Fitbit didn't raise his hand, though.
How many people have a phone as well? So we've got 100% penetration of a phone. So I guess with phones and wearables, we can get more data, and we can then do the prevention that we need to do for society. And I guess, Mark, from an insurance perspective then, what does that mean for insurance going forward? What is the future of insurance and Insuretech and health tech?
Well, the problem here, particularly in this market, is if we invest and spend a lot of money on people's well-being and preventive care and treatment, in 12 months' time, when the policy comes to renew, it's like a fish market. They just go out and take the next cheapest one. So we're spending and investing time and money for the next insurer's benefit or something 10 years down the line. It doesn't commercially benefit us, and we're still a business at the end of the day. So of course, we like the concept of preventive care and well-being, but it has to be also something that's commercially interesting and helps us as a business. And that's where Wellx does make a bit of sense, because what you described, getting people connected, literally, like locked in and using these things, and fighting for rewards, and building up a loyalty, and using this program, and having it kind of embedded as a part of people's lives, it brings a tangibility to it. It makes, as I explained earlier, the problem. It's only for a very few select people with this benefit. But if you're able to give a simple, cheap wearable to everybody, suddenly it's preventive care for the masses. And what it also does, it might actually help us as an insurer to differentiate our offering, to lock people in. So in 12 months' time, they don't want to leave. They want to stay with us. And maybe perhaps the increases will be lower as well, because you've controlled the costs by making people happier. So the increases are more sensible, so we don't have that fish market in 12 months' time. And then we can, as an insurer, start to feel the benefits of preventive wellness, because then those people are staying with us. Then there's partnership, then there's loyalty, then we're all locked in, and that's very attractive, for sure.
I just want to pick up on that very quickly. That's one of the first challenges we faced when we went out there, looking for an insurance partner to back this claim that we had, that if we keep people healthier, they'll stop going to the hospitals. And most insurers came back with a very similar sort of response saying, why would I, and just like what Mark echoed, why would I spend or invest in people's health when next year they're going to leave me and go to another provider? And that's when we sort of understood that you need to be able to complete the loop, right? And the loop always begins by attracting a good customer base, right? You attract the right sort of people to be able to join the program. I mean, we do live in Dubai, right? And all that glitters is gold here, right? You have to go out with the hype. You have to go, make sure you've got cutting edge technology on your wrist. Our crown prince wears the whoop, and they were the first. This didn't happen by mistake, right? So we went after what the region understands, a very good, awesome looking product to be. We signed with Google very early on. We now have the Wellx Fit product out in the market that actually gives a free Fitbit with every policy. And that's the first time that it's been ever done in this region. So step one's always attracting the right clientele. And that's something that we had to do, or we did strategically to make sure that the product looks good enough for insurers to work with us on.
So very true. And Sarah, you look like you're going to say something, and I was going to come to you. So I'll let you make your point, but then my next question is for you directly.
Okay. I just wanted to say also in terms of costs and cost containment, this might not always be regarding the premium or direct costs with claims, but might mean that if you do all of these preventative measures and well-being exercises, that people actually come to work more often. So less sick days, productivity goes up, and also the way how they work together. So there's also other areas of cost containment, if you like, that might not be linked directly to the insurance policies, let's say. Plus, it makes also the benefits very personalized, which is great in terms of HR, where my background is also from, because you have something that you also sell to your internal clients, and it can meet their situations, family situations, backgrounds, etc. Yeah.
So true. And I was going to come to you actually with a question that's on the similar train of thought. Both Mark and Javed were referring to kind of that stickiness that something like Wellx or platforms can have in incentivizing behavior and behavior change and changing habits. Can you tell us a bit about the brain psychology behind that? How do we motivate people to be healthy and stay healthy and create healthier communities?
Mm-hmm. So in terms of motivating people to stay healthy, I mean, there's already a lot in terms of wearables, but then, for example, coaching that I do goes through a certain kind of process where you do actions which kind of lead you to real changes, results, which also enable you to see your changes of habits, of results, of health, or whatever kind of area that might be. So it's really motivational also to go through that kind of process and work from there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. And then in the interest of time, my last question will then go across to Javed. Based on what Sarah has said so far, what does Wellx do? If I was going to buy a plan today, what would I get?
So for the end user, for the end client, we work with corporates, so sort of like communities that have a similar objective of meeting and delivering corporate goals. And we work with HR leaders, and we work with the finance teams in being able to create and craft holistic well-being programs for companies. And what that includes is corporate wellness programs and activity like step engagements and group challenges, and then we gamify that by creating a point system that incentivizes and rewards people for healthy behaviors. At the back of that, and through those AI models that we've built into the platform, we then nudge user behavior in such a way that we incentivize people to pick up mental well-being sessions from within the app, to work with professional coaches that fall under the leadership of Sarah and SSC, to be able to actually deliver certain experiences and certain programs for employees. And on the individual level, we have individual incentives that essentially go to drive that behavioral change, long-lasting behavioral change that we hope to see in individuals as they go through their journey of life.
Javed, adding all this to insurance makes it almost exciting and interesting.
So I actually, the best part about panels is that they're not scripted, right? So and I know we have 40 seconds left, but Anushka, you've seen this happening in global markets. I'd love to hear from you what you think about the idea and the concept. And I hate to put you on the spot, but you're already on it.
Wow, you've turned the question on me as the interviewer. I love it. I would say that, having seen this in other markets, we know that the more rewards someone collects, for example, through Vitality, the higher their reward status, the more likely they are, as you said, Mark, to be retained as a client for year on year, but also the less they get admitted to hospital, be that unexpected admissions or lower hospital stays if they do have an acute incident, and, you know, surgery or cancer, etc. And critically for me, the more aware they are of their health. And I think that's one of the things the pandemic changed, was it brought health awareness to people. Health is now one of the most important factors of anyone's life, and you know, if you're aware of your health, like Sarah alluded to, and you can track your health, you're more likely to modify and make those behavior changes. Now, I know I've got 13 seconds left, but I'm going to go to each of you. What is the next well-being intervention or technology or platform that's going to change this space? Let's go to Javed first.
Right here.
Wellx.
But prevention is the future of health and life insurance. I think a lot of I think the movement's already started globally. I think a lot of players worldwide are taking notice of shared value models like Vitality, like Betterfly, like 𝐿ife. I think the inspiration's out there, and you have leaders in the tech space leading that innovation, that change. And we hope to be able to achieve that within the region and beyond with Wellx.
So you said Wellx. Sarah, what's the next well-being intervention that's going to change and reshape this space?
So, talking from a coaching perspective and HR perspective, I would probably say, let's not make coaching only available to CEOs and leaders, but everyone has their challenges, objectives, goals, and things like well-being areas they would like to work on. So if we can put this as a benefit as part of a company's employment contract, that would be amazing, because that works in terms of well-being, prevention, and being aligned.
Fantastic. I think that's a great idea too, but I don't think there's enough coaches in this world. So if anyone wants to sign up to coaching, please do. And Mark, over to you for the last word then.
Something that can reach and touch every single member. Something that they really enjoy to have. Something that's fun, it becomes a part of their life. And something also importantly that is commercially viable to the insurer, but also to the client, the company that's employing all these people. If you can get them healthier, if you can get them more engaged, it's no end to the possibilities. So yeah, really something that's for everyone, for the masses, that's fun and complements insurance.
See, they all said Wellx.
I was going to say, he also said Wellx. Thank you, all three of my panelists. I guess the final outtake for me would be, who doesn't want a happier, healthier, more fruitful, more resilient world? Anyone? No, I think that's 100% uptake then, everyone agreeing. Thank you very much, everyone.